Hello, everyone. Welcome to a reading and language arts video today. So today we're going to be talking about nonfiction text structures. Here in fourth grade, we read a lot of nonfiction text. Currently, we're doing a lot of studying on the human body, which allows us to read about different problems with the human body, describe the different systems and how they work, so their processes. Also, just want to learn about how to keep things healthy, solve solutions for if we are not feeling strong in our muscular system or having trouble with breathing problems, right? So one key nonfiction text structure that we're going to talk about, it's our first text structure that we're going to learn about, is description. So a description text, right, for nonfiction, remember nonfiction means it is about real life, right? So it's not fairy tales, it's not about space or Star Wars, things like that, or fairy princesses. It's about real life, things that you can see in real life. So a description, its main purpose for an author writing a description text or you reading a description text. So why are these even written by these authors? What are they trying to do? Well, the purpose of it is they're trying to describe a topic, idea, person, or thing by giving specific information about it. Now, there are two things I wanted to go over before I read the text to you. Is you will have a graphic organizer typically if you want to write a description text, or if you kind of want to sort out one that you read. It kind of helps you better sort out and understand information from an article. So helps you, so remember, it describes a main topic, person, place, or thing. So this is kind of the big idea or the main idea, and then the features are kind of like the key details of what it talked about, the specific information it gave you during the text. Now, description text also has signal words or kind of clue words, right? So your brain might have a siren in class when we hear these signal words. We practice kind of doing a little, kind of like a ambulance siren, kind of a wee wee, when we kind of hear those signal words. So those signal clue words for a description can be, for example, in addition, it is, they are, specifically, for instance, such as, is like, looks like, sounds like, smells like, feels like, tastes like. So yes, we've talked about the brain and how it uses its senses. So if it describes something that uses your senses, like your sight, sound, your hearing, what things smell like, feel like, or even taste like, if it's about food, then it is most likely going to be a description text. So if we can already preview our text, we see that we've got this handy dandy illustration that this author has given us. It's a sloth, so we can already kind of assume, just with that text feature, right, that this text is going to be about this animal. Who knows, maybe it's just about the whole zoo, we don't know yet, but let's see what our topic sentence starts with. So our topic sentence says, sloths are furry, tree-dwelling mammals that have many interesting characteristics. Okay, so I know right away that this is going to be my topic sentence, because in writing for a nonfiction text, we've learned in third grade and beyond that we should start with a strong topic sentence. So it looks like our main topic that it's going to talk about are sloths. So I'm going to put that right here. That's kind of our main idea, right? Now, it says, for example, oh, there's one of my signal words that kind of signals a wee wee. So I'm going to box that signal word. And who knows, maybe they ask what kind of signal words help us. For example, their fur patterns make their eyes appear sad, but make their face look like they are smiling. Sloths, oh, so a little bit about its appearance. Sloths are best known for other characteristics, such as, oh, there's one of those signal words, and also it described what they look like. So it talks about their appearance, and so I have another signal word. Their sleep patterns and movement. Sloths sleep an incredible 20 hours per day. That's a lot of sleeping. When they finally wake, they move very slowly. They do all this to conserve energy. Ooh, if you've never seen a sloth, you might think it looks scary with long claws. However, you shouldn't be frightened. Sloths are harmless creatures that only eat plants, twigs, and leaves. If you want to see wild sloths, you can find them living in the canopy of the rainforest in Central and South America. Okay, so I'm just going to make sure that I didn't miss any other signal words, right? So it's talked about a lot of its looks. I see that it talks about its appearance as well. So I'm going to write down some key details that it gave me. So it talked about their appearance a little bit. So it talked about their appearance. They appear a little bit sad in the eyes, but they kind of have like a smile, and we can kind of see that in the picture here. So lovely work by the author adding that illustration to kind of get us an understanding. It talks about how they like to conserve energy, so with their sleep, and it also talked about how it moves slowly, so they don't like to be they're not like leopards or cheetahs. They're not running around all day, right? They don't have restless energy, maybe like our dog. Let's see what else it talked about. Oh, it talked about its traits. So another one again is it talks about the looks again. Long claws, right? But it also warned us that these long claws, they're not going to attack. They're harmless, right? Only really, yeah. So they do have their long claws. It also talks about how, because they're not going to attack us for food because they don't eat animals, it also talked a little bit about their diets. They eat plants, twigs, and leaves. So I'll just put they eat plants just as, and it says that we can find them living in the canopies of the rainforest in Central. So it gives us a little information about where they are, right? So even though it doesn't say they are specifically, it talks about, you know, where we can see them. So again, it kind of talks about sight a bit. So it gives us idea of where to see it in Central and South America. Right, so we learned a little bit about its appearance, right? What it eats, as well as where it lives. Its kind of behavior. It's a harmless creature. It's not going to be like a wild animal that's always hunting. It's only eating plants. And we talked about how it's a creature that isn't very super energetic. It likes to sleep a lot during the day, and it moves very slowly. So, just wanted to give a brief example about reading a description text and what it is for. Now I know this week we have one on bamboo, so we're going to have to use specific details and look out for those signal words, right, to describe not plant that this animal eats, but bamboo for this week. Of course, before we go, I wanted to show a writing example of my own. So I'm going to reveal this in just a moment, but this is an example I had. So I have a toy. It has dark colors, and it can open and close. And when you open it, there's actually another character inside, and it has a movable arm. So I gave some description based on my toy, and now I'm going to write the toy feels like, so I'm using one of my signal words. Hard plastic. For example, it has an outer shell that's all black and has another figure inside that has yellow hair. And a dark brown, I did not add, but I'm going to add a little edit here, cloak. Period. In addition, so I'm going to use one of my signal words, you can open the shell to reveal the second figure inside. When the shell is closed, you can also move the arm to make it look like the figure is fighting. Now, you may be able to visualize what this figure looks like, but here we are. There is the figure I'm talking about. So here's my movable arm. I described it's hard plastic, what it feels like. And I said that you can remove the outer shell. Oh look, there's a figurine. So, how about that? Here's a non-fiction example. So this toy is a real, even though the toy itself is based on fiction, this is a real toy from 20 years ago, based on Star Wars. This is Anakin Skywalker. So this was from an activity we did this year where students got a random toy. They could not say what the toy was, but they had to make a description about it using some of their sensory details, as you can see, and using their signal words to write their own nonfiction text. So nonfiction texts can help you describe something in real life in your writing and read more about a single topic, whether it's about sloths or a new sports that you might want to learn about if you don't know the rules of it, or just anything from things in space to certain cars. A description can help you get the big general idea of a topic, idea, person, or thing with the specific information about what it does, what it looks like, what you can see with it as well. So hopefully this video was helpful as